Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Mystery School. We're going to play some music here in a few minutes, but tonight our special guest is...
Chris Sanchez.
There he is, right there.
Hey, welcome, brother.
Thank you.
Good to see you again. This is your second time on the show?
Yeah, two-time veteran now.
This time it's the power trio. Last time was with Nick Pimentel on the guitar, vocalist. Tonight we have the true power trio. Tony Eddlemon on the guitar.
That's
we got
me.
Chris Sanchez on the 5-string bass.
And Dustin Burton on the drums.
Yeah, and welcome to another episode of the Mystery School podcast where we're going to just jam with some fresh music and talk about it. Hey, what is a jam?
Yeah, and we'll talk about how you got into music, too. It's a good thing to know about somebody before you jam.
Yeah, we want to get...
where their foundation is.
Do you think that's an important aspect of playing music? I know personally I do, like knowing where someone comes from musically, even hanging out with them outside of music, knowing them as a friend.
Yeah.
It really helps the vibe of jamming together. So
It does, yeah. Yeah, all my cousins growing up were good guitarists, so see them doing it and hearing them play Stairway and stuff and going, man, I want to do that. You know, I never got to their level, but...
well, that's right. What was your cousin's band?
Yeah, let's bring it back to what'd you first get into music-wise when you were like a kid listening? What was your stuff?
Oh, well, my first two tapes I bought were ZZ Top and Tesla.
All right.
Which, Tesla is Georgetown. The singer's from Georgetown, and the guitarist from Pollock Pines. So they're, yeah. And I figured if a kid from Georgetown could be a rock star, man, then I had a shot, So
yeah.
But I think I'm a little past the curve at 35 to be a rock star. But it was a good
tonight's
thought.
your big night.
Tonight's your night.
Yeah, this is gonna be my discovery.
Your shit's going viral.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to even play small clubs anymore.
Oh yeah.
So the Tesla thing, that's cool because it's a hometown roots. So the pride, it showed you that anything is possible. And
Yeah.
also, they have badass music. I mean, they're good, solid bands, still going strong now.
Oh yeah. He sang at my sister's 8th grade graduation and with a different band called City Kid. And
right.
Or actually I think it was before City Kid. I can't remember what their name was, but
Is that your first musical memory then? Just like Tesla, rock music, or what did you grow up with your parents listening to? What's your first musical memory? Like, wow, this sounds good. I want to.
First musical memory.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I'd have to say my grandma playing the piano, and she almost went to a conservatory for singing when she was young, and ended up starting a family instead, marrying my grandpa. But she had a piano in the living room and would play and sing, and grandpa would try to sing too, and he was all right. He could.
Yeah, so they would sing duets and play for the grandkids.
They would just play.
That's awesome.
When they were hanging out, probably if no one was there,
What kind of music was it?
It was like books that she had on the thing, and it was like
Anne-Marie.
some hymns and some 20s popular type stuff,
Uh-huh.
Yes, we have no banana. But I don't know, swing low and just hymns and whatnot.
So would you get on the piano or start singing with them?
I would play that piano. That's actually the first thing I ever played. I used to play that piano from time I was probably before I remember, and my grandma would say, softly, no banging,
Uh-huh.
And
she was trying to keep that thing in tune, huh?
yeah, she was, and save her brain from.
Oh yeah.
But eventually, I started making nice sounds
from an early age. How you respect the instrument. And playing harmony with it, touch it the right way. You can get some nice sounds, even if you have no idea what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, my grandpa would say, "That was some pretty nice sounds you put together there." It wasn't. It's a little bit of a song,
It wasn't quite music yet, but you're getting closer.
Yeah.
So your baby Sanchez Mozart, jamming with grandmas, pops, writing songs now. So you're writing this futuristic Tesla style, 20s style piano music.
This was pre-Tesla.
Ragtime
Pre-Tesla,
Tesla.
yeah. Tesla's inspired by this old 20s inspired
Rag-
folk hymn piano.
I just thought of a name for it. Ragtime and butt rock could be rag butt.
That or butt time.
There you go.
Ooh, that's the West Coast
The
market
West Coast.
right there.
Right there, yeah.
When you play on the West Coast,
See,
you're
we
called
even
butt
thought
time.
up a new genre tonight.
When it's the all-female show, it's ragtime. So going from piano as a kid, what was your first record that, besides Tesla, that kind of transitioned you from piano music to go, you know what, what instrument did you play next? How'd you evolve to the bass and finding?
I had an acoustic guitar, play around with it, and play Smoke on the Water and different things, and never really learned chords or anything, but
You playing single note Smoke on the Water?
Single notes, yeah.
A lot of that's like so many people started playing that riff. You know other people that learned.
Oh yeah,
too?
I don't know. My brother taught me it, and he said that everybody started with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then played Nothing Else. Intro to Nothing Else Matters because it's all open strings.
It's all open strings, huh?
Yeah. So I taught my daughter that actually. She's 5. She's done it a couple times, just perfect,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's then then I wanted to start a band because I wanted to be a rock star like Jeff
What age
Keith.
was this?
Let's see, I was in probably 5th grade and started talking about it, and then 6th grade it was like we had I was playing the bass because I picked up my buddy's older brother's bass who played in a heavy metal band called Disgrace. They used to rock Sacramento harder.
Yeah, that's the band name I was looking for, Disgrace.
Yeah, and he had the bass sitting around, and I thought, I can thump on this thing. This is way more fun, and it kind of was easier than playing guitar at first.
Was it jamming with the Disgrace boys?
No, jamming with Brian and Jarrett.
Okay.
Brian Stiles and Jarrett Akins. Brian was the guitar.
The precursor to Cold Beer.
Yeah, Jarrett was the drums, and that became Cold Beer. It went through a few different names, different singers.
What was your first name?
Whatever. Yeah, we were very creative.
What was your second name?
Second name was Jolatalk, I think.
That's right, Jolatalk.
Yeah.
Jolatalk. That was the name that got around for a while.
With Josh, yeah.
And then you guys started getting drunk and playing?
Yeah.
And then how did it go from Jolatalk? Was that just like...
Well, Josh took off, and we went back instrumental. And
I saw him get knocked out harder than I've ever seen anybody get hit in their life before.
Yeah, at Paul's party.
Bonder. Yeah.
On stage during a show.
Yeah, this poor guy, Josh, is trying to sing while Jarrett's doing a drum solo. We had my drums on the left side of the stage, left, looking at it from the crowd. They were on the right, and we were doing like double sets. Huge party at an awesome place at our bass player's house at the time of Torque. And Jarrett's doing a drum solo, and they're getting ready to sing, and Joe, just like a crazy guy who would sing with us once in a while, local up there, just gnarly hillbilly brawler, all around bad dude. Just like,
who's in prison now for very bad things.
Yeah, for very bad thing. Give me the mic. He says to this guy, like, he's sitting behind. Joe is sitting on my drum kit, on my throne behind my drum kit, and Josh is like singing or something, and Joe goes, give me the mic. And he's like, no, give me the mic or I'll fucking make you give me the mic. And he's like, no. And like Josh is like pretty big dude, like 6'2", 6'3", big guy, like standing on the other side of my drums talking to Joe sitting on my drums. Like, no, like, you gonna make me give him the mic? Yeah. And like in one fluid motion, like Joe, he's like fucking Mayweather, dude. This guy is born to fight. Like, his parents used to make him and his brothers, like 7, 8, 9 brothers,
fight for dinner.
Like from young age, like gnarly hardcore motherfuckers, dude.
It's
like,
one way to save money on food and create some crazy fighting kids.
Yeah, so just in one motion, dude, this guy just stands up over my drums, pops this guy in the fucking jaw, over the drum solo, I can hear the conversation going through the mic, and I can hear this boom, and this guy just like,
and it was mic'd.
Just flails back like into Jarrett's kit, while Jarrett's doing his drum solo. Josh
starts knocking
falls
stuff
back,
over.
Falls into
then
the cymbals.
The stand hits me. I turn around, picked all the stands up and Josh, and go, "What are you doing, man? Are you drunk or something?" And I didn't realize he just got hit.
And he didn't go down, I don't think. He fell into
I
the
caught
stuff,
him.
and Chris caught him.
Yeah.
And like my cymbals were knocked over from Joe punching through like my kit.
When I caught him, he was dead.
I was
weight,
just like,
though.
"Holy crap!"
He
man.
woke up when I caught him. Like,
you could tell it knocked him out. He stumbled. I'm surprised. That's probably why he stood.
And that's why I thought he was drunk, because he looked like he was passed out or something.
So I ran up to Joe like, "You got to go. We got to get you out of the party." Like, "What?" Like, "No, once you hit somebody, you got to go, dude." And like when you put his knuckle up onto it, like his hitting surface on it is almost as long as your full extended finger. Like I would put it up to his hand. His hands are just gigantic. He's huge. I'm just ushering him out, going like, "Just promise me, no matter how much I piss you off, you'll never fucking punch me."
Yeah.
Because I think it would kill me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad
and I can
he never
brawl
hit
and
me.
I can fight. I grew up on the hills with some tough dudes.
He was a good singer too.
He was
man.
a great talent.
Too bad he
just
didn't.
Big, got into the wrong things and liked a bad time. But so anyhow, that was just a crazy interlude on talking about the Cold Beer Boys and Torque playing shows together. We used to throw insane parties. We used to throw insane shows like at Pistol Pete's. We would pack places doing double gigs.
Yeah.
Glory days.
The glory days. And so you're just in 5th, 6th grade already talking about wanting to be a rock star. Like, you're like precursor, like Motley Crue, dude. Like, already wearing the eye makeup and shit. Got the piano going, fuck piano,
I had the
grandma.
ripped
I'm
up
going to the
jeans
bass.
and a mullet.
So you meet Brian, you meet Jarrett, and you guys are playing a power trio trying to find a singer?
Yeah, and I always...
You guys were instrumental until you cycled Josh, or
we
one
had,
more before Josh, right?
Yeah, we had a guy that used to sing the national anthem at the games, Mike Cooper.
That's right.
And he sung a few like slow alternative style songs for us, and
he's like, Creed.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It just didn't fit. He was.
No.
We were complete opposite personalities and everything, but we could have done something with that. I mean, it wasn't what I wanted to be playing, but it
more commercial, mainstream vocalist.
Definitely, yeah.
You guys were the whatever band, the Jala Talk, the Cold Beer, like the not giving a fuck, ultimate stoner band, bluesy Sabbath. Like, man, these albums.
Is that what you were like, Sabbath?
Yeah, kind of Sabbath. Zeppelin meets Chili Peppers. I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of elements like with
heavy
proggy
blues rock, but funky too.
They never got stuck in the blues, but they showed they could do the blues. It was that stoner bluesy for a second, but it was very like young kids, ADD.
We had
proggy,
Rush
progressive
too.
Rush. Yeah, the drummer was really
the prog
influenced by the prog Rush, to where each measure would be something kind of new, and it would build and build and build. And it may cycle back to the beginning or that beginning theme. They might start out doing like the Susie Q cover, and it goes into some like way crazy out there,
funky thing.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's cool. I still like listening to Cold Beer. I love jamming with Cold Beer and playing with Cold Beer. And
we dug jamming with Torque. It was fun. It was and
played
Dustin
a lot
and I would
together.
jam.
Yeah, I would jam with just like me and Sanchez, or I would sit in for Cold Beer playing their songs. Me, him, and Jeremy from Torque would do our own power trio jams, and we would create some insane sounds, like merging of those two styles.
Yeah,
that were neat.
I remember when we all jammed together on stage with that other band too, at the high school talent show when. It was Battle of the Bands. The Battle of the Bands at the high school, and at the end we all jammed together for like, I don't know, it was pretty cool. It was
that was fun. When we would do shows, we would set up like the epic equipment setup. So like me and Jarrett, the drummer from Cold Beer, we would combine our drum kits, so we would have like fucking like 10 toms, double bass, all these cymbals.
Me and Paul combined all our amps and cabinets.
You ever start doing a fill and you have to come back before you make it to the floor tom?
Yeah,
you're like running out, like
You can just
Oh,
keep
shit,
going.
don't
There's
know.
cowbells. There's all kinds of things around. Yeah, the bass players combine their stacks. You got the ultimate.
Yeah,
like,
then we had the guitar, the
guitars.
2 guitar amps in stereo.
They have like 16,
the
12-inch
effects
Marshall stacks,
Yeah.
with like, yeah, what was Brian playing at the time? He had the double stack too.
He had that crate Blue Voodoo,
yeah.
which was a good amp, still is. And then he had that GSP 2101 or something, the effects rack that made his guitar sound like an organ or a sitar, all that. Yeah, we had that.
Was that like
Crazy
the,
Middle Eastern song too.
Was it the
Yeah,
the guitar
that's right.
MIDI kind of thing? Was it
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
a guitar MIDI thing.
Yeah.
You would
And,
get some insane sounds. I mean, Brian, he is amazing guitar player.
He is
amazingly
We need to get him down
talented.
here sometime.
Self-taught, amazingly skilled riff, like Buckethead-esque riffs. Amazingly creative in like
He can
from
bust out some
versatile.
Al Di Meola. That's what he's been playing lately.
He'll go from Al Di
Like-
Meola acoustic classical guitar to Buckethead shreds to like some bluegrass. I mean, so versatile, so good. We got to get him down here for sure.
Yeah.
And the Jarrett is as well. He's still playing and doing his own recording. Very, very talented, very skilled drummer. I mean, all these guys.
Yeah, Jared's jamming an Ostrich Theory, and they're
Yeah.
doing pretty good. They're having a show
They are
Friday
starting to
night,
get
probably before
big.
this comes out. But
They played the movie premiere right
Yeah.
down in Davis
yep,
at Mondavi, right?
yeah, and they're having a burlesque show at the frat.
Yeah, they're
girls
opening
or
up
something.
for.
the frat girls.
Who are they opening up for though? They're playing with a pretty popular local band actually.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I might go.
man, we
but,
should have promoted that out there because both bands are going to be really good.
Yeah,
But if you look up Ostrich Theory, they're finally playing with the good act around here.
Yeah.
Is it the Firehouse or
yeah, I think Firehouse. Yeah,
This will probably come out after.
good thing
the
this
show
isn't a
even
news
happens.
show. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, we're not live. Yeah, we can't really
This
promote shit.
shit's-
It's
yeah.
gonna come out next month.
So,
Yeah.
the show will probably be done. But
So hey, mom, hey, dad, you guys, the people out there listening, you two, come to. I'll tell you about the show.
yeah, we'll tell
In
you
the
how
past.
it went.
So Chris, you started with ZZ Top and Tesla, and then where'd you get into from there? Like, what have been some of your like favorite bands over the years?
I'd say Zeppelin and Sabbath.
You got into those guys big time for a while.
Yeah, and AC/DC that back then, and but that kind of wore off. But I don't know, Chili Peppers and Primus, and I'm digging on some new stuff. The Black Keys are awesome. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
and
were you playing Primus type stuff at some point? Were you like learning those songs? Were you doing like the Big Brown Beaver slapping?
no, I never really learned any of his songs. I'm not Les. I'm not,
You would jam
but
in that style more when you would play with
Yeah.
me and
I
Jeremy.
played
because
My
I'm a
Name
big
Is-
Primus guy.
I
Like,
did play My Name Is Mud sometimes, but that was.
We would dip into those.
but I
elements.
couldn't get that. Actually, My Name Is Mud. I couldn't play it just like he plays it, because that's one of the hardest songs to play of his. But you can fake it easier because it's just a simple notes, but the slapping,
You're
the
doing
right
it like
hand.
you're doing it halftime basically.
Yeah, the
because he's
right
doing
hand technique on that song
Yeah.
that he's doing.
He's doing a
he's-
percussion
is-
riff.
he's doing
basically.
Yeah.
like 30
Yeah.
second notes. So it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I used to make an attempt at that sometimes, but
We got Cujo the Killer Dog here joining us
Cujo's
again.
joining us.
He came from episode 1, and as Kevin said, he has giant balls. I haven't ever glanced into that area myself, but Kevin saw it and he said that. But
Yeah,
he's
he's
wants it back.
back.
How's it going, Cujo? Hey, how's it going, buddy? Welcome back to the show. Yeah, cool. How you been? What was your first musical stylings that you enjoyed listening to? Toto?
We're not in Kansas
Barney?
anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, he comes around.
I think he said like Bauhaus or something.
Little Bow Wow, I think.
Little bow. All right.
Yeah, well, we got this guy making some noise.
Yeah.
So hey, I think last time we got him stoned.
Oh yeah, I don't know if his.
He's asking for it.
Better ask the owners.
Last time his owners came and got him. He's on the other side of the fence. Oh, they're getting him right now.
Yeah.
So my
From Primus
he is gone.
to Sabbath and Zeppelin.
and
Who's your biggest
Zeppelin
influence
became
then, bass wise?
Oh well,
John Paul.
yeah, maybe. I wish, I'm not. Influence. I could say I never, but he's
Yeah, if you could be one
classically
bass
trained,
player,
classically trained musician. I mean, that guy practically, he could write an orchestra if you wanted to.
So if you could be one bass player, who would you be?
I'd have to say Flea, man.
Ooh.
Because that guy's seeing him on stage doing backflips while he's jamming on the bass and
So
stuff.
the energy and the skill
Yeah.
combined. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's.
I know he's doing somersaults while not missing a beat, like
Yeah.
just running around like a madman.
Yeah, and the sound live at Chili Peppers was completely different, and everybody knows Chili Peppers known for good bass, but live it was just insane.
Yeah, when he kicks in like the overdrive or the bass boost for the different parts, and it really starts thumping. And
Yeah, I mean,
he adds the element from.
I'm in the lawn in the Concord Pavilion, and feeling that just shaking, the grass that's laid on top of the concrete. I mean, it was the most bass I'd ever heard, and defined, and just I mean, they obviously had more money to put into their sound than most people.
They did.
But,
I noticed that too.
But they put it in the right place.
I saw him at the Tibetan Freedom concert at Golden Gate Park with Rage Against the Machine. And Yoko Ono played earlier on the day. Hey, how about that? We hid out in the porta potties during that. It was like literally that bad. The sound was excruciating. But I just noticed Flea when he would kick on the overdrive and just how that was the first time I saw Chili Peppers. I think I was like 14 or 15.
Nice.
Just like the way he dealt with the elements of the bass and the different effects and just kicking it in from measure to measure. It's like, dang.
Yeah.
Is it true he's made crop circles at some of those festivals with his bass?
I could believe it, man.
Who knows?
It could be a shockwave coming off of that thing.
If you get the right frequency and that you just slap it hard enough.
Yeah.
Do you think crop circles are created through frequency?
Actually, you know what? It was that Shoreline.
Yeah,
possibly.
Frequency?
It's either frequency or people with boards. I mean, what else is it going to be?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people build them with ropes too, like tied to a pin and.
Yeah. Magnetism.
They're probably mainly just, or almost, maybe even every single crop circle is just people with boards. But if there's some kind of weird phenomena behind it, my theory is, this is my theory. It's pretty ridiculous, but this is the mystery school.
Yeah.
It's from the sun blasting out coronal mass ejections, and it just like focuses this tight frequency of energy that just blasts into the earth, like right in these fields,
make a
swirls
geometric
it all up.
pattern.
Well, that would support actually what we were talking about on the end of the last episode that you were here, Chris, when I was talking about the astronauts seeing the geometric patterns in the sun and the shapes. So the coronal mass ejections.
This does not mean you don't have to eat food.
Yes, it does not mean eat food, people. It doesn't mean. But it means that maybe there is some sort of diagram or grid or pattern to life and energy.
I don't think of it as like a diagram or a grid. I think of it as like, it's like that's like a frequency, like a musical sound coming off a speaker. Like
exactly. So sunlight, and that's a big blast. So
sunlight is a frequency.
Exactly.
That's no secret.
So, there's patterns in there, like we were talking about, that they see in everyday sunlight, but it's a coronal mass ejection, so it amplifies those frequencies, so they can leave an imprint where it can be more visibly seen instead of just felt, or you have to be consciously tuned into.
The third theory. I don't think this is it. Probably accurate, but it's a nice one.
So the first is
first is people
with boards.
People with boards.
The second is
that's definitely probably majority of crop circles that have ever been. Maybe even every single crop circle. Second is
frequency.
Second is some kind of like cosmic thing, like maybe the sun blast, or it could be anything really. maybe
even aliens. So second is could
no,
fall into that.
Third is the aliens. Some people
Yeah.
trying to communicate. They got like this fancy, something like you'd see on James Bond, like Goldeneye, like like a big satellite dish thing pointed right at Earth, and then they like hit the button and it just shoots out all this like energy.
Because a lot of them are informative. They're like a signal, or they're trying to point you into thinking in a new direction. Maybe.
I think it's people communicating with aliens.
Oh, that's the fourth.
Some people.
That's D.
But that's the boards again, right?
Yeah.
We're back to the
Yeah.
boards.
But
But,
these
okay, that's the
people are
intent.
making patterns off of the stars and stuff, and they have some sort of contact with beings that can fly by and see this symbol, and it means something.
So similar to the Nazca lines, kind of like it's
Yeah.
big drawn out patterns that are attracting this or showing them this is a something.
It does go back into the number one with the people at the boards.
Yeah, so I guess so in those theories, then do you think that's the most plausible then? That it's just people? Or is there something deeper to them? Or do you think it's a mix of both? Maybe the majority of it are people, some of them are hoaxers, some of them are communicating, and then maybe something else is
I think we
coronal
don't.
mass ejection, or maybe possibly even aliens trying to communicate with us or responding to the board hoaxers.
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's probably safe to say, assume probably just the people with the boards.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
my...
leave a little glimmer of, hey, maybe something else happens.
Yeah. Who knows, you gotta keep an open mind. But yeah,
But if you
I'm sure it's
use
mostly people with
Start with
boards.
the logic and then leave a little Christmas bow on there for a little excitement, just to think what if. Because we're at a crust in the era right now where we don't know. We know it enough to where we don't know, on this precipice of where there's anything is almost possible, where we have science to prove all these contradicting theories, but still the ultimate conclusion is, well, there's this small percentage of probability that, it's probably humans, but that small 10,000th of a percent, whether it be aliens, whether it be frequency, coronal mass ejection, that thousandth of a percent, the implications of that unknown is pretty cool at this time. It's frustrating as fuck to not know, but it's pretty exciting too to live in a time where it's not like, oh yeah, we've come to the conclusions. We know it's like we're spiritual things. Like it's aliens exist. Yes, coronal mass ejections happen. Cymatics, frequency goes in geometrical, patterns, based on sacred geometry. Cool. So like, but we're there. We're like anything is possible.
But see, this is the thing. You can never really know what is real in a way, because
not in the third dimension.
But you're only
not in our dimension.
All this stuff, like the stuff about all the scientists, like their ideas, they're like compound, like humanity's like compounded efforts to figure this stuff out. And so like you are just having to take the word from other specialists about all this stuff.
And it's a word based on third dimension, left-brained logic.
Yeah, but it's not like there aren't your findings.
No.
You're taking the opinion of other people.
And that's the exciting part. We can have the possibility to prove it to ourselves too, by using that right-brained intuitive logic that I think we should be merging into. From that unity-based first frequency of consciousness to the second base, that's that disharmonic, but it's that needed disfrequency to boost you into that new dimension of combining that unity and logic at the same time.
Let's let the guests talk about this.
Yeah, what do you
since
think?
You've dug us this deep hole of woo-woo.
I think logically, in the conscious level, there's a guy, I wish I could remember his name, came up with a formula where they look at distant solar systems and they look for dots crossing in front of the stars.
Yeah.
And through measuring the spectrum of light that comes off the edge of these dots, they can determine what elements its atmosphere is made of.
Okay.
And they've found thousands of planets similar distance to their star with a similar composition of atmosphere to Earth. And you divide that number by, how many are, around stars that burn the same gases as ours. Kind of narrow it down to where there's millions of these planets that they've found. So the odds that there's life are way in favor of that there is life.
Highly probable
that life is out there. So
here's a weird one though.
check
If
out
you think about,
SETI.org.
if you look at, let's say you were an advanced species on another planet looking at Earth from however like insane distances away, you know, capturing the light from Earth. Light travels kind of slow relative to these things. So depending on how far you are, they could be looking at the Earth from like thousands of years ago. So they wouldn't even be seeing us. They'd be seeing, you know, who knows how, if you were advanced,
Yeah, and the same
somewhere
on our
very
end.
far. Same on our end. We look
Yeah.
out there hella far and we're looking at what this planet used to look like.
That's where you got to get into wormholes, and there's mathematics that suggests that wormholes exist, and that way you could just
One and interdimensional beings and
you know,
the vibrations
take a ride through the, you know,
The wormhole, yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're 30 light years away, you know, 30
well,
billion light
if you become a
years away.
six-dimensional being and have that frequency, you supposedly can travel through those different either dimensions or planets at the will, like using that Merkaba and taking a physical body and a spiritual body with you through those different dimensions. Like that's what like the masters, I guess, did in Egypt, but you know, supposedly.
Well, that's you know, that makes sense. I mean, life is energy, and it could be life just floating around in space that's intelligent that we can't even see because it's just energy.
Yeah, and we're assuming though that life out there is third-dimensional beings, so we're looking at each other from this third-dimensional perspective, where it is delayed by the light of seeing it. So we're looking at them 10,000 years in the past. But that's not the point. I think the point is for beings that even can think about and have consciousness first off, but to think about other planets out there or other realms and dimensions, you go beyond a third-dimensional being and vibration, and you start traversing. That's how you traverse space, is going in first, and then you can travel to another third-dimensional planet like Mars or another spot almost instantaneously. But you can also travel in between those two dimensions or different dimensions and see different dimensional beings and characters that are operating on a level outside of your physical spectrum. But you choose to come into the Milky Way. We'll travel within the 3D dimension on the 6th-dimensional frequency, so we can travel there instantaneously. But we choose to see in this
turn the dial
dimension.
to the 6th-dimensional frequency.
I got lost. How about you?
Yeah, I'm tuning in the dimensional.
That's how we're recording it. We're throwing out these crazy ideas, and I'm kind of like losing myself even. I'm just talking it out and seeing what sticks to see if it validates and it matches up with another story. So then you know, okay, that thought is, no, it's not logical. It's not intuitive. Just pass it on. You've learned it. You know, it's a false negative. Prove it to yourself as an untruth. Now prove a new truth. Or that's what it's having these jam sessions, talking with people. You try it out and something they're like, yeah, well, it's still open, or they validate something with their experience, and you go, okay, maybe you can't quite prove it an ultimate truth, but you don't discard it as an untruth, and now it's a probability, and the probability of it being true has increased. So you can prioritize what you're holding on to in your thoughts and memory, and put that maybe a little bit above the other shit that you need to, discard out, right, and flush away.
Yeah, I mean,
I got
into
lost
another
again.
direction.
Yeah.
Well, you guys want to go get lost in some music?
Let's go play some
let's
music.
Let's go get
give
lost
that
in
a
some
shot.
tunes.
You're getting even more abstract than I can.
I'm
follow
gonna
from
tune
that.
that
abstract
amp into
words,
the
right?
6th dimension, and
You can't almost explain it. So I think
we're gonna.
That's the problem.
words were created to pull us out of that unity first dimension and to pull us into this disharmonic state, so to pull the veil over and to forget. So we can't just share holographic memory like in that unity consciousness.
You
So-
got that?
I got
So
it.
now-
Unity consciousness. That's
So
what we're
these
gonna
words-
work on when we're jamming.
Yeah, these words and writing are created. They're limited forms of communication. So especially at this precipice of understanding. So now let's go communicate musically. Hopefully we can proceed these thoughts into a deeper realm, and then we'll come see what we were thinking about, what we were trying to accomplish, that connection. Right?
Amen.
A deeper communication than words.
Yeah.
Music,
All right.
tones, coronal mass
Frequencies.
ejections.
All right. Let's go make a crop circle or two.
Yeah, we'll see.
Camp gear and ice chest full of beer. We're going on a lake and trail to ride to the pioneer. Crossing the Rubicon.
Welcome back, folks. We're to the summary part of our jam and musings.
Yeah, that's Chris Sanchez, the bass player tonight.
Our special guest. Right?
Yeah.
Our only guest. What do you think about when you jam?
Think about hitting that number 1 chord on time.
The number 1. I think about that too.
Think about the one. Yeah,
Where's that one?
Yeah.
Go
How'd you
lose
guys feel
the
about
one.
the one tonight? I know we went around it quite a bit, and
We did a lot of stuff on the one. It was a lot of droney stuff on the one chord.
Yep.
I'd say.
Yeah, and as long as you can walk off and whack off down the scale all you want, as long as you can find that one at the right time, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
I think I found it about 80% of the time. That's better than a NBA free throw shooter.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I gave it, like the 80%, the B- tonight. 20% of failures on the jam. That's a pretty good average. To the listeners, probably more like a 60% fail, 40%. Who knows? But inside,
depends on how good of a musician you are listening, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're like a musician listening, you're probably like, "Oh, this guy's
These guys
losing
are
it.
hacks."
He's going out like, oh wait, he got the one. He knows where he's at.
He's going to the wild zone.
Oh, he got back to the one. He's cool.
Well, would you call yourselves musicians at this point? I wouldn't say we're like technically like Beethoven prodigies. But we're seasoned. We've been around. Do you think we have the critical enough ear to make an educated decision on our triumphs and fails within a jam? Or are we still trying to learn that through this mystery school exploration?
I'm still working on it myself.
It's a mystery.
It's hard,
That's why we're going to school.
And we have 0 comments, folks. So out there, if you want to get on this and give us some comments, tell us that we suck. Tell us our triumphs. Let's get the feedback from the listener and see where that ratio is of failures to success. Because all we know, we're just self-indulgent musical pricks sitting in there jamming and having fun. And if we can keep a conversation going, we're going to keep blabbering at the mouth and making sounds. That's our goal tonight. I guess we made sounds, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We just kind of started jamming together, and it seemed to go off we got pretty out there tonight. What do you say?
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of getting out there.
No, I think
I don't know.
That's the place to be.
I dug the effects with the trancey type stuff, and I felt like definitely gelled a lot more than last time. It was if we jammed more than once every 3 months, we might
it might evolve into something. What's your take on a 3-piece versus more?
I've always played in a 3-piece mostly, you know, 'cause I always played with the same 2 guys most of the time. And even when I was jamming with you and Jeremy, you know.
It was a trio.
Yeah, I think a 3-piece is a great, I think it's a perfect balance. And, you know, if with the rhythm guitar, you really have to do a lot more work and choreograph things, I think. It's a lot easier to jam.
A lot more.
A lot easier to jam with a 3-piece.
If you have a rhythm guitar and a bass player, they actually have to make sure they're playing the same thing. That's
right.
While you're playing, one guy's doing lead, the other guy's playing bass.
You switch roles a lot.
Well, it could get out there and it's okay, you know. While if you have a rhythm guitar guy playing like the wrong chords, that gets a little rough.
Yeah, I liked a lot of your harmonies, as we were calling it, the polyrhythmic harmony that you guys were doing. I
thought I was calling
the multimodal.
Dissonant at times.
The harmonies was cool. I mean,
I like to use dissonant for wrong key or wrong note. No.
And that's a cool discovery with jams, like, because if someone would teach you to play the right harmony, you would play it, you know, in that way. But then you hit that dissonant note, and you go, "Oh, whoa!" You played it wrong, trying to learn the riff in your mind wrong, but it sounds end up being right, and you stick with it.
Oh, that first thing we played, sound check. I mean, that was definitely modal. I think that, you know, it sounded almost like something like Cream would do on purpose, you know, like, or they.
I think you were playing over E minor. Is that what you were playing over?
Yeah.
And I was playing over A minor.
Yeah, but I think it worked though.
I think that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
So, Tony, what do you think about when you jam?
I don't know. It's either I'm not thinking about much, or it's often self-critical thoughts. Like, you know. What about you?
Me, I go into a meditative spot where it's absence, where I'm almost not thinking, but it is that self-critical, because you're engaging, you're thinking so much, you almost have to release to make a decision.
Yeah.
So you try to go into that spot where you're almost in the moment 100%. You're not thinking, but it's all music. I mean, we've asked this question to other people, and
that's the groove, man.
That's the groove.
When you're in the Zen, when you're in the meditative. Yeah, I got there a couple times, like tonight, and that's why people play music, is to get there, you know. And you're absolutely right. I didn't even think, you know, because I was trying to think, what do I think about? And all I could remember is what I think about when I'm not quite there, because when I'm in the groove, you know, I'm not thinking about anything.
Yeah, you're fully engrossed.
Like the sound of the music is the thought.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking about, the way everything sounds.
Yeah, you're passively observing. You're not judging. You're not critical. You're just in that moment, in that groove.
And then the rest of it, when you're like,
muscle memory take over.
You know, feeling sloppy or feel like you're failing, then you're thinking like, what do I got to do to get this thing back on course?
Yeah, and I have associated that with me, where I'm in that ultimate zone, and it's like you're in that groove, right? And you're passively observing, and you almost go out of your body, and you're observing the band as a third person. You're going, okay, shit. And then you start observing yourself, going, yeah, that drummer's good. How's he doing that fill? And then you start thinking about it, judging yourself, judging that person. And then I literally have felt that, and then I pull back into my body. I try to emulate what I was just observing passively, and then it all goes to shit. And you mess it up. And then to release from that and to play back into what you were observing, you have to not think and just trust your muscle memory, release from it, get back in that moment, and go with it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, some people will answer, I'm thinking about my laundry or what I got to do, what I did today. And, like, to me, that's when I'm coming back into my body, and I'm, like, observing, trying to do something. And
you know what, in a way, it sounds like you're talking about, like, meditating, but you're doing it like you're playing music, so it's like in a form other people can hear when you've screwed up your meditation. You know, you're practicing focus.
Yeah, like your guru can say, "Oh, you broke your focus right there."
Yeah, and anybody listening could hear that probably too. In a way,
if they're intelligent enough and have felt those moments too, and have a educated perspective or a relative perspective where they can get in your zone, they can definitely notice that. Or if they've listened to it a few times, they can see where we're repeating it. But the Buddhists call it walking meditation. Like no matter what you're doing, washing dishes or playing music, walking down the street, you're fully in the moment. You're feeling your foot touch the ground. You're aware of the body. You're observing passively. You're not judging it. But it's just, and that's the closest I've gotten to real meditation is the walking meditation is through music, and you're practicing, or even through sports where you're just in the zone making a shot or just actively doing something and you release. I mean, that's the first step. And then sitting meditation, right? Ultimate concentration and focus. That's that next level, because I mean, it opens up all kinds of opportunities when you dig within. But that's, I think, what, at least personally, what I'm digging for through music and conversation and connection is digging as deep as you can within and finding that meditative release where you can acknowledge a moment and realize when you are snapping out of a moment, back into a moment, being critical of yourself, when to know when to try something, throw yourself out there in a jam, when to, shut up, or, it's a cool meditative thought for me, playing music. And,
like anything that you can do repetitively and feel good about the result is kind of like what I think of as Zen. It could be if you're into bicycling, just pedaling up this hill and like you're not even thinking about it. You're just like, going for it. Or if you're like a race car driver and you're just like hitting the perfect line in this turn, just like drifting through, like you feel like you're out of control but in control at the same time, just on that fine edge.
Yeah, like, you stop to think about what you're doing for a second, you right off the edge of the cliff,
you're gone.
Or crash the car.
It's funny you mentioned those two things, and then you think, or if you're in a garage doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you're in a
race car.
Garage
with a musical instrument.
We're in a safer form of Zen. Yeah.
This is like the most mild form of Zen you could ever get in. Huh?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, just in a garage.
It's just one step above Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, you could really talk about being in the zone when you're playing Mario. Like, so you got the level down. You're just zoned in. You got the Tanuki suit. You're playing the
turtle tapping. You're turtle tapping. One up.
You got the sound high, so you can hear once that power
plugged
hits
into the stereo. Oh yeah.
Wow, we're bringing it back. But another, I would say, successful episode. I learned something tonight. What did you guys learn tonight?
I don't know. I feel like my learning with this project happens when I'm listening and editing. That's more when I realize, I learn more from that, like listening back to what I did.
So that's your third-party observer zone, is when you can literally be a third-party listening back.
Since I know I have to edit this thing and listen back to it and deal with it, it helps me, I guess, to play more in the moment, because I'm not that concerned. I know I just let everything go, groove with what's going on.
That's the neat thing about recording everything too, because you don't have to play that riff 100 times once you find a cool riff in a jam, and then you just we'll keep repeating it because you're not recording it. It's like, shit, I better learn this now.
Yeah, I'm not worried. If I lose the riff and it's gone, I'm not worried about that.
It's captured, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to record every jam, and that's why this whole thing intrigued me, is because some of the best things I ever play, I can never remember again, and don't even remember that what I played, and and so it's cool. It's great to hear it again. Sometimes it's a little oh man, I wish I would have hit that. I wish I would have let that note ring or whatever, but that's where, if you're actually trying to write a song, you can listen to that and know what to do. It's just like watching the tape when you're playing football or whatever,
Yeah.
Just
And yeah, that would be my preference in writing an album, is to just get with the band, write songs, record your jams, and then build the songs. Maybe not even have songs and just jam together.
Yeah.
And write your songs off of those jams, because some of those gems that you come out of from that unconscious spot where, those are something you channel in that you can't think of when you're trying to do something.
Yeah.
That's where you want art to come
It's like,
from.
there's a few times when Tony would bust out a little lead that was repeated a few times, and then I'd incorporate it into the bass line, and like that's how stuff gets written right there, just those little melodies, and you put them together, and
you refine it and you put the math to it.
I have a question though. When you listen after, so you came over the first time, we did the first podcast, then you listened to it. What were you thinking as you listened to that first one? So first you listened to everybody talking, and was it weird hearing your voice?
it was, and I didn't.
That's how like a lot, I felt like that for a while.
That's tough to get over. That takes.
Are you used to it now?
I'm used to it now. Yeah, it took
your
like
voice
maybe
sounds
5,
different
6.
to you than it does in reality, and so
it's weird to be on the other side of like listening to yourself, kind of critiquing yourself, huh?
Yeah, and then you're going, oh man, I hit that note, and then that was out of key, and this is on the internet. But hey, whatever.
But were you digging some parts?
I was. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be negative. There was a lot of great stuff in there. I dug like some of those. There's one groove in there that I can't really remember, but that could be a song. It was kind of like a bend, a big bend, and I don't know, low. But there was some cool stuff in there.
I remember a part of there where the bass was just going do 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 do.
Yeah.
Like doing some leads over it.
Yeah.
And Nick was doing a rhythm.
No, I was happy with it overall, but I'm always critical of myself when I'm listening back. It's not as much of a zen for me, I guess, unless I hit it right. And sometimes it's like, wow, I can't believe that's us playing. But.
Yeah, it is tough listening back, because you
sometimes
you
it's
realize
like cool.
where you could.
It's like, wow, I can't believe we played that. It's awesome.
Well,
sometimes it's like, damn, I wish I would have
kept that going.
Yeah.
Tonight, like that stuff we played, I had no idea. Like none of those thoughts, were in my head before playing like some of this crazy. We were playing some crazy sounding stuff tonight. We were getting really out there.
Yeah, no, I dug it. I think tonight was way better. I guess we'll hear it, and listeners can be the judge. But I think this night was definitely a better jam. We might have had a crazier conversation last time.
No, yeah, it was more refined. I mean, I love the experimental aspect we took it to tonight. That's where I love the form of jamming, is where, especially jamming where nothing's off limits. We're not doing a blues jam. It's like whatever you want to do, and that's where I love where we have nights like this, where you just go into this experimental spot, but we still knew each other enough from the first episode and our history to hold it down. But that's what my favorite thing is about jamming, is doing something, maybe a musical flavoring you never even knew was within you, or merging, two genres that shouldn't go together.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, taking that risk, you'll never get there unless you take that risk and listen back and cringe and go like, what the hell was I doing? Why didn't I do that longer? But, and the next time to do it longer, and you can get that thought across that much clearer. So I think it's really important to listen back, not only while meditative and try to get in that meditative state and observe yourself, from a passively, non-judgmental perspective, but do that while you're listening back as a third party to yourself. As a young musician, once we got tape and video and started to listen back, you're like, it's a whole new world that comes into play. Like, you're not just writing songs, you're learning how to record it, get your message across, and then you're listening back critically from a third, a removed perspective.
It's really
go back.
It's even more important if you're trying to play a cover song. I remember learning all these covers for a party we were getting paid for, and you're trying to like sound like Seven Mary 3 or Pearl Jam or like Bush or something, and you have to listen back to be like, oh, I didn't hit that one effect right there, you know, like all that, you know. Not that that's as fun as just jamming on your own stuff, but I think it's even more important if you're trying to emulate something.
Yeah, jamming is definitely, I'd say, the most fun element. I mean, playing a song, you're boxed in your stuff. I mean, if you really love playing your song and you wrote it and it grew with you, it should be fun. Hopefully, you write a natural song. You're not playing a cover or writing it for someone else, so you enjoy playing it. But still, it's awesome just to let loose, and you know you don't have to do any certain thing. Whatever can come next doesn't even have to be relevant to what came before. No one knows where anybody's going, so whoever has an idea, let's follow it, and you can go to these uncharted territories. And it's just like it's real special for at least the person jamming. And at least for me, as a jammer and a musician, I love listening to jam bands, instrumentals, people just jamming and going through. I love hearing them trying things, and I love hearing the mess ups.
Yeah, I love. Some people don't dig it. I mean, but like I remember hearing on the radio, David Lee Roth was like, why would you stand up in front of like 30,000 people and play something that you've never rehearsed before? You know, he just thought it was crazy. Like he couldn't, like he hated it. But
yeah, it can be dangerous, you know, but it's also, wouldn't it be exciting to watch a train wreck, a band you like?
With great risk comes great reward.
Just start going for it and just lose it into a train wreck.
Well, the BBC sessions,
pull it out, maybe.
I mean, the BBC sessions were like, I don't know. That's like before podcasts. That's like, you know, that was probably the most popular, just broadcasted, improvised music. I mean, I love that Zeppelin BBC Sessions album. It's like completely off the wall, and there are some mess ups and stuff, but you know, those guys could recover real easy, you know, and Jimmy Page is just going off on, you know, the leads that are just, you know, out of this world. And you could tell they were in a meditative state, and that's the greatest music that can take the listener to the place where the musician was.
Yeah.
Because they went to Morocco and studied trance music, and that's when they wrote Kashmir. And I think it really played through on those BBCs. I don't know if that was before or after, but they were definitely in a trance, and you can almost get there by listening to it, you know.
You can. Well, when you have a bass like a song, but it's loose enough as a band where you can jam from it and get into those meditative states and allow the listener participating to see that this is a moment. This is live, a BBC session. They're improvising, they're jamming, and this is something that's special that's happening right now that we're getting involved in, you know. And like, to me, that's the most special thing with music. Just
maybe we should start doing a live broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it, but
we've talked about it.
I got a little thing on my phone where I was broadcasting video, you know, when I was up in the helicopter. Just, you know, see if, I don't know if anyone actually watched it while it was being broadcast.
Probably not.
Probably not, but
you're like, how'd you guys know I was going to be up here in a helicopter?
Well, it just like, you hit a button and it says
like Ustream or something, or what?
Yeah, and it says to Facebook, like, hey, I'm broadcasting live video, you know, and but
maybe
you got
one of your friends clicked on it.
I don't know. I think there's a way to check, but I haven't. I think a lot of people watched it afterwards.
Yeah, we talk about
most people were at work, like
video or live, and we left it up to the listener. We're like, well, if they demand it and have comments, then we'll make the logistics happen to fulfill that. But no one.
Yeah, let's get some comments. People tell us we suck.
It's like, stop playing blues. We haven't heard that, so we keep playing blues. Stop jamming. Play the song.
We've got zero comments or reviews.
Yeah. So we don't know. Like, no one said, hey, where's a video? Hey,
I think we need to do some more promotion. I put it out, to my 200 or so odd friends, and none of, I think a few actually listened, but
no comments.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well,
people are passive observers these days, huh?
Yeah. Well, I got a couple comments on my Facebook thing, but nothing on the actual website. I need to.
Well,
let me get out there and pass out some flyers down at Old Ironsides.
You guys ready to close it up?
Ready to close it up. I mean, we do this to get it on tape for us, so at least one day we can listen back, and at least in these moments,
and cringe when we listen to ourselves.
Yeah, we can learn how to talk to our friends. We can learn how to share a thought musically or verbally, and try to at least get on paper what a jam is, what we talk about, what we think about when we play as musicians, and then capture what we're playing on the. We're at this age now, maybe 10 years later, think of the jams we're going to be listening back on then.
Yeah.
Things that are just how we progress musically, from how the show started, from on like cassette tape to reel to digital, to like us not knowing what's going on, to maybe being very rough and not musically in our moment, to having some really amazing shows that better equipment sound good.
Maybe we'll do one episode that will be completely worth it. Like, just one of these days, we'll just nail some episode.
We just want to capture like 30 seconds of that jam, that one special moment. I mean, if you can have that through 1,000 episodes, that's gold. And then just among friends, family, like digging this up, at least we had that fly on the wall. We've put it down.
Who knows? Maybe someday our kids will listen to this and be like, "Wow, our dads were out there."
Yeah, they were kind of cool. Yeah. That's what we always talked about, Tony and I. Just like, we don't care if there's anybody listening. We're going to do this just to record for ourselves, and if we have fun doing it and we have fun listening back on it, and it just provides perspective from looking back on where we were to where we are, and learn different things, explore different topics, and true to the mystery
we've done
school.
it, and it's been cool. And then everybody who's came on it is really like listening back.
They've had a fun time. Yeah,
you guys have had some awesome guests in the last month or so.
There's
been digging it. Like, I'm honored you guys had me back, man. I'm like small time compared to some of these people.
No,
we have had some cool episodes lately.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every episode that I have, it's my favorite. Afterward, it's like. And that's the feeling that I hope this just goes through 1,000 more. Like, and that's what you want. You're in the moment. It's awesome. And
I always do. Like, I always am into the current one. I always feel like it was good. And then we do another one, and you're like, oh, this one's good too.
Yeah. And I mean, that's cool. We've had
we have the duo coming up next. We'll see.
Yeah, we do. That's gonna be the next one.
That one's gonna be rough. Just me and Dustin.
Oh yeah. And check that out.
We did a lot of noise on that one. I hooked up all 4 of those amps to different lines. I had the organ going. I had the sitar pedal, stereo guitars.
Nice.
It was wild.
It was.
But I haven't mixed it yet.
I was doing bass lines on the toms.
Nice.
Yeah. I had fun with that one. I listened back to the first duo, and I was like, man, can we take this off here? I was like, man, I wasn't happy with my performance. It was very rookie, but we had fun. We were just doing it. I mean, at least listening back, I can hear that in every episode.
The first few are rough.
Having fun, but we're feeling it out, and I mean,
if you're listening out there and thinking this sucks sometimes, we're there right with you.
We agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
and feel free to let us know. Let's get some.
We're putting it out there, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what you need, is that bravery.
I could easily see a lot of people being like, nah, don't put this out there. It's like, I've thought about it for a while, but then it's like, we're just doing it. Might as well. If people listen to it and they hate it, they'll just turn it off, and it won't. It's not shoved down anybody's throat.
There's worse things on the internet, I think.
And there's no ulterior motive here. We just want to share and learn.
But doing this, maybe we could eventually make an amazing show one of these days. Maybe just the process of doing it, we'll figure out what works and what not. I think we're honing in the skill.
Yeah.
And then tonight we had this crazy psychedelic episode. So
Yeah, that was awesome. I dug it, man. Can't wait to hear.
It's a victory from the process of just hitting record.
Every moment is a victory. Well, thanks again for coming out, Chris. I mean, it's awesome to have you back.
Hey, great to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming out. It was
Thanks
cool.
everybody out there listening, and we'll see you next time on the Mr. School Podcast.
Yep. Later, guys.
Ciao.